Hello everyone and welcome to this audio podcast in this series, the Phelemonix Clax charter. This is an audio podcast aligned to the Phelemonix Clax charter v.4. This is the scientist as another Storm Robotics production, and here I thought I'd provide a sort of overview or an abstract in and around sort of anticipated in aligned to an anticipated sort of conference remit. And so here the overview in anticipating the International Pediatric Transplantation Association, or IPTA conference 2023. I thought I'll take this opportunity to provide an overview in and around sort of collaborative research, looking at an important topic. An important topic in and around transplant immunobiology, and looking at transplant immunobiology in and around an overview surrounding chronic kidney disease, providing a sort of a chronic kidney disease review sort of perspective. Now, the full works around this will be available through our collaborators, the Renal Patient Support Group, the RPSG, the sort of full works will be available through the RPSG. And here I thought I'd provide a sort of an overview or an abstract in and around this the works. This works the abstract around this work had been put forward to the International Pediatric Transplantation Association, IPTA, and so I thought again to provide a sort of basis. So the immune system protects the body from infection by pathogenic organisms, and it is composed of a complex constellation of cells, organs, and tissues arranged in an elaborate and dynamic communication network. The immune system is, in its simplest form, a cascade of detection and adaptation, culminating in a system that is remarkably effective. Now, in and around this, leukocyte and lymphocyte migration, or trafficking peripheral blood into affected tissues, is an essential component of the inflammatory reaction to virtually all forms of injury, and it is an important factor in the development of many diseases as well. Now, advances in the past few years have highlighted the central role of a family of chemotactic cytokines called Chemokines in this process. Cellular adhesion molecules, or CAMs, or abbreviated as CAMS, again CAMs, have also been important in what's referred to as allograft rejection, as these molecules allow protein receptor binding. Now, chemokines help to control the selective migration and activation of inflammatory cells into the injured tissue graft. Now, chemokines and corresponding receptor ligands migrate during inflammation and there is some evidence that certain negative states, so for example stress, depression, and or anxiety, can directly affect physical immunity through the production of stress hormones such as catecholamines and glucocorticoids. Now, there is some indication that negative states as well may lead to faster progression in certain diseases such as human immunodeficiency virus (HIV) and also HIV and other particular diseases. Now, through direct biological mechanisms. At the same time, negative states may also indirectly affect disease processes through the influence on health behaviors. Now, for example, depression has been related to many risk factors for poor health, and stress with respect to works by historically developed by Hans Selye in and around the general adaptation syndrome from 19 in the mid 19th, and more specific in the mid 19th century, and specifically 1936 has also been considered with commencing various disease states. Now, healthcare also incorporates another model called and referred to and has been referred to as the biopsychosocial model. The biopsychosocial model is also sort of a technical term or terminology for the popular concept of the mind and the sort of mind-body connection. Now, the model was developed by a psychiatrist who was known as George Engel, or Dr. George Engel, at the University of Rochester, and works was first or initially published in a 1977 article of Science. Now, the biopsychosocial model draws a sort of distinction between the actual pathological processes that cause disease and also the patient's perception of health and the effects on it called the illness, or referred to as illness. Now, there are theories that directly affect the immune system, and there are investigations that highlight or show this to be the case, and referred to as a specialty or a specialism as psychoneuroimmunology, thus joining sort of psychology, neuroendocrinology, and immunology. And so the aims and the objectives in and around this works on transplant immunobiology and a chronic kidney disease or CKD review was looking at sort of entities based on chronic kidney disease, CKD, transplant immunobiology, and neuroendocrinology from these particular specialties forms the basis of this particular research, and so thus the full works in and around this particular audio podcast again can be identified through our collaborators, the Renal Patient Support Group, or the RPSG, wherein the full audio podcast seeks to provide an overview in context of a sort of a poster presentation, and so listeners are welcome to check out the works, the full sort of audio podcast in and around this through the collaborators, the Renal Patient Support Group, or the RPSG. So I want to take this time to say thank you for tuning in. This has been an audio podcast as part of the audio podcast series the Phelemonix Clix charter and the Clix charter the Clix charter v.4, this has been the scientist, and it's been another Storm Robotics production. Thank you for tuning in.